Let me know. Welcome to Rainier Avenue Radio World. It's me, your host, Tony B, and we begin our coverage of the Best Starts for Kids Summit today, right now. Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. We welcome you to the special preview day, Best Starts for Kids Summit, and we got some special guests who are going to be joining us as well. Today's kind of a teaser of all the great things that are going to come this week. We've got an amazing session planned for today. The Best Starts for Kids Coley's Jessica and Jamalia will be with me on Rainier Avenue Radio here very shortly. So just a lot of cool things. What is Best Starts for Kids? Some of you may be asking, I don't even know what Best Starts for Kids is. Some of you may be familiar with Best Starts for Kids. Best Starts is a voter-approved initiative to support every baby born or child raised in King County, Washington, to reach adulthood happy, healthy, safe, and thriving. Building on the deep knowledge, connections, and skills within King County communities and backed by what science and research tells us about human development, our community-based support meets children and families with the right services at the right time. So during this week, there's going to be workshops, there'll be info sessions, there'll be technical assistance, and I'm going to have our host join us and tell us a little bit more about what we can expect to hear. So welcome to the program right now, Jessica. And Jessica there? Is just Jessica, are you there? Jamal, I see Jamalia.
Hi.
All right, there we are. And how are the both of you doing? Well, I guess it's not morning anymore, it's afternoon officially.
Afternoon.
Yes.
Lunchtime.
Yeah, Best Starts for Kids. But this is our preview kickoff. Happy afternoon to both of you as we get this whole thing started in a few days. Whew. We will have been through a lot, learned a lot, and have had a lot of fun. But this is the beginning. This is the start. This is when everything is in front of us.
That's right.
Well, I'm just going to start by getting to know a little bit about both of you. Jamalia, you're in the center of my screen, so we'll make you the center of this conversation right now. Give us some background information on you.
Okay. Well, my name is Jamelia Jones. I'm the Best Starts for Kids co-lead. I was born and raised in Seattle, Washington, in South Seattle. Graduate of Franklin.
South Seattle, you know how we get down.
I'm a Quaker. I'm a Franklin graduate.
And you're Franklin Quaker too?
Yes, I'm a Franklin Quaker. And I'm an HBCU graduate too. I just got to throw that out there. Shout out to Morris Brown College. But anyway.
All right. All right.
Yeah. So I've been with the county for 7 years now, working in the Department of Community and Human Services with Best Starts for Kids. And I'm a co-lead with Jessica.
All right. And well, let me get in your Kool-Aid a little bit more, Jamalia, before I go. Give us something interesting about yourself that you don't ordinarily talk about when you give your dissertation on your bio and who you are. Just give us a little inside information.
Okay, good. That's a good question. So something interesting that I don't usually tell people.
Mm-hmm.
Since you said the word dissertation, I would say I just completed my doctorate program. Just walked in June from the University of Washington, and teach on my spare time at the University of Washington Tacoma campus. And so that's not something I share with a lot of people, but
well, congratulations.
Thank you.
That is awesome.
Just finishing up my last little edits on my dissertation, but I'm done. I've done everything. So.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank
Awesome,
you.
awesome work. And Jessica, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, it's so good to be back. I work with Dr. Jones. We are co-lead, so I am her counterpart over in public health, helping support Best Starts for Kids and the incredible team and our community partners that are doing amazing work every day. I've been with the county for 6 years. I've worked primarily around sort of childcare supports, working on supporting families and kiddos and childcare providers. And I've got 2 little kiddos of my own who are almost 3 and almost 8. So it's very real work.
Awesome, awesome. Well, you heard me talk a little bit about Best Starts for Kids at what I call the 30,000 foot level.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that you can share a little bit more information in general about Best Starts for Kids. For folks who may be listening right now who go, well, this is cool. I wanted to find out more about what this is. But I don't really know about it. Now, obviously, lots of people do because you impact and affect several different sectors in our communities here with a number of different programs. But I would like you to, and you can do this in any order, and don't be shy on me now. Now is the time for shameless self-promotion about some of the things that Best Starts for Kids supports. Yeah, we'll start with that.
You want to kick us off, Jessica?
Sure, I'm happy to. So Tony, I think you shared that we're a close to $800 million initiative. We're voter approved, property tax funded, and really focused on ensuring that children and families have the best possible outcomes, support, so that they can be happy, healthy, safe, and thriving throughout their lives in King County. And so our work is really focused in a very different direction than lots of government work. We're focused upstream on thinking about how from the very, very beginning, we're not just preventing bad things from happening, but we're actually focusing on what's the goodness there. So things like prevention of the bad, but also promotion of really healthy and positive outcomes for babies and young people and parents and caregivers. Early intervention when they need supports early on, making sure that we meet them in the way that they need, in the place that they need, and then policy and system change. So how do we make this a bigger movement than just our investments? How do we really focus on supporting the well-being of all of our young people across King County and then really beyond that?
And Jamalia, you want to add anything to?
Yeah, I would just add that the one of the great things about Best Start for Kids is that we are rooted in equity. We are very much focused on collaboration and partnership with communities, and we are, concerned about all of our children in King County, every child. And so I think the great thing is that we really try to be community led and focus and share community power. So.
Easier said than done. Easier said than done. You have taken on a big task, a huge job, but you offer what I see. There's a number of different wraparound services to support folks throughout the challenges, throughout their unanticipated challenges, and it sounds like you try to take care of things, be proactive as well. The summit this year.
Yeah.
Let's talk about today is the opening, get to know, review, just kind of check out what's going to be taking place at this year's summit. Jessica, I'll start with you again.
Yeah.
You started last time, and believe me, you're going to be sharing this load. So, Jamalia, I'm not letting you off the hook. Jessica, as a matter of fact, Jessica, why don't you take maybe the first 2, Tuesday, and then and Wednesday, and then Jamalia can take Thursday and Friday. See it?
Yeah.
See how I do that teamwork?
Yeah. I love it. Well, so our theme this year is growing roots and reaching new heights. And so we're really focused on this next part of the levee where we're growing.
I'm going to say that again, growing roots and reaching new heights. Growing roots and reaching. Daniel, do we have that graphic, that asset that we can put it? There it is.
That's right. It's beautiful.
And reaching New heights. Okay, because some folks do have the ability to watch us. A lot of people are listening and
Yeah.
can't. But I'm gonna try to describe that, Daniel, if I can. If you can put that back up for a second here. And I'm obviously this was very intentional. It's like can you describe it for me? How would y'all describe this for me? What was the intentionality behind this particular graphic or asset that I'm looking at right now? Oh, can you see it?
You
Yeah.
can see it. Yes.
Okay. It looks to me. I know I'm not a gardener, but it looks to me like something sprouting up out of a patch of dirt that someone is holding in their hands, and then beneath those hands there are another set of hands, and I'm guessing that that's intentional.
Yeah.
Yes. I would say, given the first levy, we're in our second levy. The levy was approved by voters, and so I would say the first levy, seeds were planted, roots are growing, and so what we have really committed to doing here at Best Start for Kids is continuing the foundational work that was started, but taking those roots and trying to grow them to even greater heights. So we're trying to do even greater than we did in the first levy, which the first levy was tremendous, served over 400,000 babies, kids, and did some wonderful work. And so trying to take it to another height, the initiative. And so that I think was the intention behind that.
Okay, and Jessica, I interrupted you, so I will let you get back now to what we are going to find out about on Tuesday.
No, you're good. And I think it was great to pause, actually, and come back to that graphic, think about both this work and the young people that we're working with really flourishing. So the first couple of days of the summit, tomorrow you're going to see our kickoff. We have opening ceremonies. We've got sessions throughout the day, breakout sessions, listening sessions, lots of opportunities to engage and learn or make connections with other people doing work. That continues Wednesday. On Wednesday, Jamila and I will have our morning show. We've done that most years for the summit. And so we'll have that, and then a breakout session with us in the afternoon to get to know us as well. And lots of other sort of incredible work happening throughout the week.
Okay. Now did you include Wednesday in that? Did we go over Wednesday? Okay. Thursday, Friday. Jamila.
Thursday, Friday, Jessica and I will kick it off once again. There will be plenty of sessions for folks to attend, but I really want to highlight Friday. Friday is in person, and it will be at the Museum of Flight. We have a great keynote speaker that we are very excited about. Dr. Timmy Foster will be sharing with us all of her great knowledge and wisdom, and so we're excited about that, and we're excited to see people in person.
All right. Now, y'all are the hosts. How do you plan to every morning kick this thing off, or do you just like say, you know what, let's wake up and we're gonna start talking about what it is?
I'm always kind of like that. So
yeah, sort of how we do work.
I'm kind of like that. But what we plan to do is get together in the same space. We're going to share our favorite drink and have some coffee. We're going to do a Q&A between the two of us so that folks can get to know us as the new co-leads, because Marcy and Sheila were the previous co-leads. And so we want folks to have an opportunity to get to know us. So we have some fun questions and ways that people can just kind of connect with us. And it'll be fun.
Jessica, your feedback?
Yeah, I mean,
do you participate in this?
I do. Even not on Summit.
Just say, this is what we're gonna do. This is how it's gonna get done.
Even not on Summit weeks, Jamila and I share coffee most mornings, and so it's really just inviting folks into our normal coffee 30 minutes.
And why did you choose to do this, or were you selected? How did this come about?
Oh,
good question.
I think we might have been voluntold. Does that sound right?
Pretty much, but it's all good. It's fun. But we really wanted, because we still are in a sort of hybrid workspace, and we have really been thinking anyway about how we could connect with folks. We just thought it'd be a great opportunity that we can be before people and just be able to share what some of our aspirations for Best Starts for Kids this round, and also just an opportunity to get to know us as co-leads.
Now, I know this is a big question, but again, we're coming out of COVID.
Yeah.
And changed, disrupted, affected, impacted everything. There will be one live day this year. How did that, and again, I understand this is a big question, how did that change the way that you do your work when a lot of it is interactive and community engaged and all of the things that you were talking about earlier?
Yeah. We talk about that a lot because our work is relationship based. And to really do relationship based work, you have to be with one another. And so we're thinking about new and creative ways for us to connect. Some of that is in person, some of that is virtual, and there's ways that work has changed for the better for lots of folks. So we honor and respect that too. And I think, we're continuing to learn and figure it out as we go. I think we're really, really looking forward to spending time in person with many of our partners on Friday. I know I'm looking forward to hugging a bunch of folks I haven't seen in a while. And so there will be a lot of that and some good food to share too. And wanting to make sure there's opportunities for folks to get plugged into if that's not the right option for them.
How did the folks you serve adjust, improve, catch on, maybe even regress in receiving services through the pandemic?
That's a really good question.
Yeah. One of the things that I actually think is really beautiful is that we had so many partnerships with organizations who were really embedded in, rooted in community across King County. And so when COVID sort of first became apparent as an emergency, rather than saying we can't deliver services, we're going to terminate contracts or suspend contracts, Best Stars, in partnership with these really incredible organizations, said, how can we continue to serve communities well, young people well, families well? And really the vast majority of our partners pivoted to do pretty incredible work that was informed by the communities that they're rooted in, right? That goes far beyond what we could have just done as a government agency. And so I think that's actually one of the things I'm really proud of is the partnership with organizations and the trust that we've built over the past 7-8 years to say, what the needs are. How do we support you in meeting those during this sort of unprecedented moment?
And Jamalia, can you answer that same question? At the end of the day, if whatever you're doing is not impacting the folks who you're trying to reach, you know what I'm saying? Why, I'm just saying, why are we doing it? Can you tell me how that was, because we've never been through anything like that before. And, I guess we're coming out of it. There's a lot of commentary, I'll just say that right now, about COVID rearing its ugly head again, and then some other potential things. But we've started to see some of the impacts of 2 years of folks isolating, 2 to 3 years of folks isolating, 2 to 3 years of folks being less social, 2 to 3 years of our youth not being educated in person.
Yeah, I guess what I would add is one thing that at Best Starts for Kids that we're looking at is how do we invest more into our well-being of our young people and mental health, because that is something that exacerbated. It was already it was already a concern, an issue before the pandemic, but the pandemic completely exacerbated mental health of our young people and well-being. And so one of the things that we continue and we're committed to doing is investing in the well-being of our young people. So, but I agree with Jessica that out of the pandemic there was a lot of innovation and there was a lot of pivoting, and that is also a beautiful thing. And so one of the things we are really trying to look at is how do we use some of the data that we are collecting in partnership with our communities to look at where are we continuing to, or we need to meet the needs, are there some service gaps, some areas, and geographically, do we need to, be intentional about supporting our young people and families. So
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World. We have begun our coverage of the Best Starts for Kids Summit. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to talk more about some of the things that we've got coming up. Again, joining me are the co-leads, Jessica and Jamalia. Thank you both for being here. If you are just tuning in and you missed some of what's happening, I talked a little bit about Best Starts for Kid. I call it at the 30,000 foot level, and you've been getting a lot more inside information from both Jessica and Jamal here. But Best Starts is a voter approved initiative to support every baby born or child raised in King County, Washington, to reach adulthood happy, healthy, safe, and thriving. Building on the deep knowledge, connections, and skills within King County communities, and backed by what science and research tells us about human development, our community-based supports meets children and families the right services at the right time. I want to break down part of that. Building on the deep knowledge, connections, and skills within King County communities, and backed by what science and research tells us about human development. Why is that statement critical? Why is that important? I see it as very important. And y'all explain to me why that statement is in there.
Jamelia, you want to answer this one?
No, you can go ahead.
I'll go ahead. Okay. Sorry. Well, I think there's a couple things. I think there's two things that statement speaks to. The first is that we know that the county and government systems in general have for a long time sort of had one approach to doing things. And it's not to say that approach isn't okay or isn't good necessarily, although I think there's times where we know it's not. It's to say that there is a wealth of expertise and knowledge in community, particularly about what their own community needs, right, across King County. And we're basically redistributing power there, sharing power there, and recognizing that we're not the expert on everything. That our job is to think about how we support the brilliance and ingenuity that already exists within communities across the county. The brain science piece, I think, is really critical because it's part of what really led to the fruition of Best Starts, is this recognition that we invest so many public dollars sort of at the end of what we would call a stream of lifelong impacts where people are suffering or struggling, and we invest resources to support people at that point, and that matters. And a recognition that brain science tells us if we invest early in those early years for babies, for young children and young people, and for families, that we see a wealth of really incredible outcomes, not just for those kids and families, but for our whole community, right? For our whole society. And so we think it is not only the right thing to do to sort of redistribute power in this way and expertise in this way, but we also think it's something that is supported by all of the knowledge about what works for kids and families.
Jamelia, and thank you. And I thought that was a great example of an answer to that little sentence right there that I think is really key. I think that we have to listen to our communities, and what we don't want to do is we don't want to do harm to our communities, thinking that we know everything, you know.
Right.
And struggles are individual. Struggles are also within certain ethnic groups, and struggles differ within certain ethnic groups. And again, it's just a lot. So again, big ups to you guys for doing what you're doing. I was about to ask you a question, Jamalia, but you look like you were getting ready to say something. So before I ask you a question, did you have something?
No, you could ask your question.
Okay.
I was agreeing with you, yeah.
For you, what will, as your role as co-lead, what will success look like at the end of these 5 days? I know y'all sit down and you've thought about this and you've planned this out and you said, this is what we want to accomplish. What will success look like for you when we get to the end of Friday?
I think success would look like people felt like they were able to connect with others, that they were able to be a part of the Best Starts for Kids community, that there was shared learning happening, peer-to-peer learning happening. I think success would, this connections being made. And I think really just centering on our why and the values of Best Starts for Kids, and just getting that, not that it's not in the forefront, but sometimes it's just good to revisit the why and why we're doing the work that we're doing, and why it's so important for us to be in community with one another. This is a collective effort. It's not, we shouldn't be isolated in doing this work. We need to do it together, collectively. And so I would say that would be success.
All right. And Jessica, the same question for you. For you personally, individually, as a co-lead, when we get to the end of Friday, what will success look like to you? And you have your crystal ball out right now, so you can kind of predict the future and look into it.
That's right. I think, Jamelia, what you shared is pretty close to what I would say. And I think it's really about folks re-engaging in a way that makes them feel like part of something bigger than just their own work, right? This whole initiative, a pretty incredible collaboration and partnership, and the ability to come together with folks across our region and really imagine new possibilities for kids and families, I think is a pretty incredible opportunity. That would feel like a real success.
All right. We are almost out of time. I so much enjoyed talking to both of you. Thank you for letting me get in your mix a little bit, stir your Kool-Aid, find out what your thoughts were. But I do want to give both of you an opportunity briefly for final words here. So again, Jamelia, I'll start with you. Whatever you'd like to say to those who are listening, will be listening, attending, don't have any idea what this is, but go, well, I think I need to hear more about this.
Yeah.
I would just say that I think you all should just join the sessions. If you can't join them all, join some. We have an incredible youth inspirational keynote speaker, I think on Wednesday, that will be joining us. That's exciting. And I think if you can, if at all possible, come out on Friday in person. We're going to have a good time though all week. It's going to be exciting. So I'm looking forward to meeting folks as well. So come on.
All right. And Jessica, your opportunity for final words that you'd like to share with our audience right now.
Yeah. Just highlighting that we have some incredible folks joining us this week, in addition to all of our Best Starts partners who will be joining us for many of the sessions and leading some of them. We've got Arandi Flores, who is our youth inspirational speaker. We've got Dr. Timmy Foster on Friday, and she's going to give, I think, an incredible talk. We've got Executive Constantine joining us tomorrow for opening ceremonies. And then I think you'll see throughout the week just some really incredible content from some pretty inspiring folks. So hope you can join us.
All right, let's go get them.
Yeah.
Good luck to y'all in the next upcoming days.
Thank you.
That's it. That's all the time I have. I'm going to be here, though, again, talking to some more folks. So we've got another half an hour. Right? We just had an opportunity to spend a half an hour with Jessica and Jamelia. But I've got another half an hour coming up. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then I'll be back with some more folks, and we're going to continue preview day for Best Starts for Kids Summit 2023 right here on Rainier Avenue Radio .world. We'll be back.
I'm Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not deep frying a turducken in a closed garage, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
Hey, Seattle, here are some storage tips to love food, stop waste. Onions make potatoes sprout faster. Keep onions away from potatoes. Ripe bananas give off a gas that makes the fruit around them ripen faster. Store bananas away from other fruits. 40% of food in the U.S. goes uneaten. Save money, save food, save the planet. Visit Seattle Public Utilities for more tips.
This is Big Poppy, host of Jazz from the Cabinets. Join me each week for a listening tour of the first century of jazz an eclectic mix of Dixieland, big band, cool jazz, bebop, contemporary jazz, world jazz, all jazz in all forms. That's Jazz from the Cabinets with Big Poppy on Rainier Avenue Radio, streaming worldwide on RainierAvenueRadio.world.
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. I'm Granville Emerson along with my partner,
Ronald Pepe
Dean, and we host the show Little Line Sports right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world, where we talk about football, basketball,
local sports,
national sports, Seahawks,
UW,
Seattle U Redhawks,
Garfield Bulldogs,
all that and more right here on Little Line Sports on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
We must all remain committed to slow the spread of coronavirus, taking care of ourselves and not putting others in harm's way, especially those already at higher risk of getting seriously ill, including people over 65 or those with underlying medical conditions. If you must be out, avoid crowded areas, stay 6 feet or 2 arm lengths away from others, and wear a face covering. Wash hands frequently with soap and water for 20 seconds, especially after being in public spaces. Avoid touching your face, cough or sneeze in a tissue, then throw it away. Disinfect frequently touched objects. And if you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. Slowing coronavirus means taking care of ourselves while also protecting others. Even if you're not at high risk, these steps should be taken to help slow the spread of coronavirus. We are all in this together.
The Beat of the Fox with Nastiness is back on K-Fox Night Beat.
Yo, what's the deal? It's the legendary Hall of Fame DJ Mixmaster Ice from UTFO.
What's up? Who do you thought this is? This is Sir Mix-a-Lot.
And this is Terry Lewis.
And I'm Grand Mixer GMS.
What's up, y'all? This is DJ Third Degree.
This is JJ Hudson from the High Children family.
Sunday nights from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's K-Fox Night Beat with DJ Nastiness.
Bringing back the memories.
Bringing back the memories.
Bringing Seattle's hottest music.
Bringing Seattle's hottest music. Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
That's my noise. Peace.
Wash your hands, don't touch your face, wipe things down, clean up your space. When you cough and sneeze, do responsibly. If you feel you're getting ill, isolate at home and chill. No, you're not alone. Please pick up your phone and call 206-477-3977. King County 206-477-3977. Public Health 206-477-3977. King County 206-477-3977. Public Health Community Radio Station will provide you with more information. Say Rainier Avenue Radio. Your community radio station will provide you with more information. Rainier Avenue Radio.
Would you like to see when your favorite Rainier Avenue Radio show comes on? Check out our show schedule, updated weekly at RainierAvenueRadio.world.
Welcome back to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. It's preview day for Best Starts for Kids. And thanks to Jessica and Jamalia for joining us and sharing a ton of information about the upcoming next few days. That actually in 30 minutes, you'll be able, if you're just tuning in right now, you'll be able to go back and watch that again. Just really enjoy Jamalia and Jessica being on. And then they'll be on like every day, kicking this thing off. So you'll see more of them, but it was an opportunity for us to kind of interact. And I'll be here too. It's the Best Starts for Kids Summit, and I've got some folks. I told you I had some folks joining me. So I'm going to start with Carrie Way. Hey, Carrie.
Hi, Tony.
How are you doing?
I'm good. And yourself? Good to see you. It's been a minute.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, today is the big day. I know there are a lot of big days leading up to the big day, but today is the big day. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
That's a tough question to answer. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I am anticipating great things. I'm also a little bit nervous,
Okay.
but the last
Normal.
2 years.
That's normal.
Yes, it is. The last years that we have done this have been wonderful, so I expect nothing less.
Okay. Now, you have brought some friends with you.
I have.
You brought some friends with you. So I'm going to talk to you, but I'm going to bring your friends on as well. James. Hey, James.
How's it going, Tony B?
I'm doing well. How are you doing? Oh, we don't get the picture?
You're supposed to.
I'm
not sure what's going on. Let me try. Yeah, that was a favor from me.
We got a laptop? We got...
Let me see what's going on with this one. It's a kindness from me when you don't see my face. I promise you. It's not an insult.
I told James to do his hair, Tony, but
Well, if that's what we got, James, but I gotta get on you about that, man. You got us a laptop. We're here. We're whatever configuration of us we are here, and we'll figure it out. But anyway, okay, maybe James is redoing the laptop, and you don't have to.
I'll work on it.
I'm just poking at you. And Debbie. And there's Debbie, for real.
I am here. Yeah. No camera. No laptop icon for me. My camera's actually working today.
James, I'm messing with you, man, but I understand even through the pandemic and all of the things that we've done to try and access this technology. Hey,
there he is.
All right. It's still invariably something happens, and there's always a glitch in this stuff. And so, but Debbie and James, I'm going to talk to both of you. But that's kind of a segue into Carrie starting this conversation with you about putting something like this together with all of the moving pieces, all of the various folks that involve, all of the different communities that we are engaging, all of the different age demographics.
It's a lift. It's a lift. Tony, I'm privileged to work where I work. As you know, I work for the King County Department of Community and Human Services and with public health, because Best Starts for Kids straddles both departments. And my work straddles both departments, but I'm housed in DCHS. And we have a great team of people, great work family, I like to call them. And people stepped up to help produce the summit this year. This is not all me. There's many, 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 many people behind the scenes, people that are coming on as session monitors, people that are part of our planning team, people who are putting on sessions, people who are recruiting community members and reminding them that we're having this summit and we'd love for them to join us. So it's a complete BSK family effort. So it's not just me, it is a lift. And we have noticed this year that people probably would have rather have been in person than virtual, but we are excited for the presentations that we're going to hear the speakers, as you heard Jamelia and Jessica talk about. It's going to be a great week. Okay.
Now, I'm just going to ask the decision to do virtual again. Yeah, well, Friday's live. I'm just asking. Carrie, I gotta ask.
You gotta ask. Don't ask.
So the decision to be virtual again. What was that?
Well, we have a little bit of history at the Best Starts for Kids Summit. If you recall, the first year was March. I think it was March 7th, and that was in 2020. So March 7th, 2020 was our first one that we had planned. And the county shut everything down March 4th,
yes,
2020. And so we had been told that Monday that in-person event, which was going to have 750 people at Seattle Center in the Armory there, was going to have to be postponed for a few weeks. So we postponed it to June, and it got postponed for a few more weeks. And we decided that in-person wasn't going to happen. So we went virtual August of that year. So we took an in-person event. We had 1,100 people come the first year to the virtual event. And it made sense.
Can you just, there was a short period when COVID happened when I think everybody thought this is going to be over in a couple months.
Yeah, that was the period. They thought, oh, you'll be back in June. You can postpone it till June.
Mm-hmm.
No, we ended up not being able to do that. And so we ended up doing it virtually in 2020 and again virtually in 2021. Times have changed. People are ready to get back. They're ready to look at each other face to face, be next to each other, commune together. And we chose to do virtual. We planned this months and months ago. And in that period of time, people really wanted to get back to doing things in person. It's a little smaller crowd this year, but small and mighty. And we have great presenters like Debbie's going to be presenting a session. And we're excited. It's going to be fine. The next time, I bet you'll be doing this radio interview in person.
All right, looking forward to it. James, we'll start with you. Debbie, don't go nowhere. Don't go anywhere. James, tell me the role and roles that you are playing in this year's Best Starts for Kids Summit.
Yeah, well, the entire Children Youth Advisory Board has done. Their best
You know what,
to-
James? I can barely hear you.
All right.
Is that just me? A little. Your audio is very.
Better, Tony?
That's better. Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. I switched to a private room so I can have the conversation. Not because Best Starts for Kids needs privacy, but I didn't want other folks getting in the way of the good work. So Best Starts for Kids, is supported and guided by the Children's Youth Advisory Board, and I'm one of the appointed members there. So is Debbie. And the role of the CYAB is to be there to answer any questions folks have. So we have lots of different members of the Children's Youth Advisory Board, which I just shortened to CYAB, who are showing up for different parts of the session. So we're kind of hosting the table as though you were in person and you could just go and stop by one of the booths for a vendor. We've got our members who are logging in, our Children's Youth Advisory Board members who are logging in and just answering questions folks have. It's an amazing committee to be on because you get this incredible diversity of people who come and care about young people. You have people who are really focused and have built these amazing careers around early learning, prenatal, immediately postnatal. You have people who are who have made their careers around working with young people who are already adults, working on keeping young people out of the justice system. You've got folks who are working on culturally specific organizations. I'm Native. I work at the Chief Seattle Club. I'm enrolled in the tribe in North Dakota. And there's all these Native organizations who are doing work with young people to help them strengthen their identities. And so when you have a Children's Youth Advisory Board that looks like and comes from the communities that Best Starts for Kids serves, we're an interesting group of folks to come talk to. So I'm saying this also as a pitch that if you see a CYAB person sitting there with no one in their room, come on down and talk to us. Our folks are really interesting. We come from all over. I live in SeaTac, and so we've got other folks from King County District 5 who are able to share about the work we're doing down in South King County. One example is there's a Best Starts for Kids funded program, Global to Local, which is focusing a lot on the food economies, how young people are accessing food, which we just talked about COVID. We know how big of an issue that was. So stop by. I'm really encouraging folks, stop by, talk to the CYAB members, because we're here to not only share the good work of the CYAB, but bring things back from those who attend and share it with our other members so we can keep guiding and trying to steer Best Starts for Kids in the ways that we can.
You did a really good job of explaining that CYAB is Children's Youth Advisory Board, because a lot of times when those things become acronyms, it's like, huh? What? But I know now that CYAB stands for Children's Youth Advisory Board.
One of the first things we try to do as a CYAB is to get to understand the scope of work that the Children's Youth Advisory Board oversees. Mm-hmm. And so pretty quickly you say, oh, I'm on the CYAB, which oversees BSK. I'm on the PSTAA subcommittee.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right. And it's like, what we're doing is we're finding ways to make sure that the community has voice when we build new facilities for young people. We're finding ways to make sure that Black and brown young people have other people who know their lived experience when we're trying to deal with the justice system and how it interacts with young people. It's not all these acronyms. It's real people who come from the communities who understand the work. We just get caught up in the jargon sometimes. So, that's a good challenge. Also, here's like an Easter egg for anyone who comes and visits the Children Youth Advisory Board members. If you catch any of us using acronyms or abbreviations that you don't know, stop them in their tracks and say, "Oh, what is that?" Because it's always a good reminder for us to stay. We get so mired in the technicalities that we don't always stay at a level that's digestible to everyone that we want to support.
You did that jargon like a pro, though, man. You said CYAB with the BSK with the GU. Oh, okay. You lost me after that one, but anyway, I know what the CYAB is, and so good job with breaking that down. Debbie, how you doing, Debbie?
I'm all right. I'm thinking about all this alphabet soup we're always like wading through, and how much work it is to keep all these acronyms straight. But I really appreciate the way that we all work together to make sure that we're, trying to advocate for our community and do it in a way that is meaningful.
Well, same question for you, Debbie. At the end of the day, what are you doing?
Oh, that's a loaded question there, Tony. That's a very loaded question. I think, like many board members, I wear multiple hats, and where I can be the most service to children and families and youth here in community is where I am. But for the most part, I spend a lot of my time on camera like this, working with early learning professionals and with those who touch the lives of children and families to make sure that we all have what we need to make sure our babies are thriving.
Okay. And everybody hang on. Carrie, I'm going to come back to you here for a second, just for kind of another preview. We did it earlier, but an overview, if you will, of what's going to be taking place the rest of the week here.
Well, in addition to the exhibits or virtual tables that James mentioned, we have 3 of those this week, including the King County Children Youth Advisory Board, where we will have members that will be staffing that table throughout the week. We also have many sessions. We have about 12 to 13 sessions that will be taking place, and some inspirational keynote speakers. Jessica and Jamelia mentioned Randy Flores, who is our youth inspirational speaker out of Auburn, Washington. And I believe she has a podcast called Where the Roses Grow. I'll have to double check that, but I'm super excited. I've listened to her podcast. Talented and brilliant young person who's going to share her experience and her knowledge, as well as Dr. Timmy Foster, who's going to bring her wisdom at the in-person session on Friday. Dal Constantine will be kicking us off tomorrow at the opening session tomorrow morning. And throughout the week, we have other sessions. Like I said, Debbie will be hosting a session with one of my team members, Juliet Escobar. I'm super excited. That one's going to be very unique. It's more of a harvesting, I think is what Debbie calls it. She'll have to talk more about that. But we, every single session has merit. I think right after this show, Amanda Kay with Public Health and Claudia Dow will be doing a session on, and I say it this way, 10 things that you can do to improve your language access. So language access is something that's hugely important to us at King County and something that we value at Best Starts for Kids. We actually have a whole team that works on language access. They're community partners that we've been partnering with for 6 years now. Some of them are the original members. So we have some cool stuff happening this week. If you missed it, we had Tia Yarborough talk about the Youth Action Plan. That's also something that the King County Children Youth Advisory Board have an advisory role for, and that is the Youth Action Plan, which is Tia talked about is coming up for renewal. We're excited to say. And then later on, we'll be on your show, Tony, but the King County Youth Bill of Rights, we're going to be sharing that original draft this week. So excited to get that out and get people's responses to what we have heard our young people say. So those are just some of the things.
I was actually going to bring up the fact that I was looking forward to the King County Youth Bill of Rights. But I'm going to ask you to explain something to me like I was in the 6th grade so that it makes sense to me. Language access. And you said it was really important.
Yes. So I have spent about 15 years working in language access. Started at the city of Seattle and then came over here. The program that we started at Seattle is award-winning. Basically, we spend a lot of time communicating with our communities in ways that are accessible to our mainstream communities. So that would be most of our English speakers. But people want to be communicated with in ways that are culturally respectful, as well as in their own language or their preferred language. Some people, English is not the first language that they speak, and they have multiple languages that they speak in, but government traditionally has always communicated in one language. And we have learned that as our communities become more diverse and we have more diverse cultures and languages, that we need to change the way that we reach people, and we value everyone the same. And therefore, if we say that, then we need to act that way. And that means having a language access program where we partner with people from different communities that speak different languages or have different cultures, and they work with us to communicate messages like opportunities with Best Starts for Kids, like the renewal of the Youth Action Plan, and all the different programs that we work with. Some of the ones in public health are extremely important. We've had times when the power's gone out and we need to communicate with people, for example, that you don't want a generator too close to your house or to burn something inside your house if you don't have a chimney. So there are things that we do that are vitally important, both in Best Starts for Kids and throughout King County. And language access has become extremely important, something that we've brought to the forefront of our work now. And it's taken many years, but we're doing it. And we have some great programs in public health and throughout the county that provide that access.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. It's me, Tony B. This is preview day for Best Starts for Kids, the summit. We're kicking it off. Earlier, I talked to Jessica and Jamelia. Right now, I'm talking with Carrie, James, and Debbie. James, I mentioned earlier that the Youth Bill of Rights was something that I was just really interested in. Not that I'm not interested in anything else. And I know you're in a slightly different position where you just can't necessarily pick favorites. But I'm going to ask you anyway, is there anything coming up this week that you in particular are like, you know what, I can't wait for this networking summit, this workshop, this opportunity? What is it, James? What is it that you're really looking forward to?
Yeah, in the basketball world, we call that an alley-oop, because I get to dunk this one and say any session that has young people, in particular, I think this keynote is an absolute slam dunk. I think everything we do at Children's Youth Advisory Board needs to be centered in the needs of young people. Oftentimes that means really centering families, right? Especially if it's a very, very, very young person, like a few days old or almost about to be born. But I think that keynote with our young leader who's going to be joining us is really the thing that I would, if you can only make it to one thing, make it to that. And then look through the sessions for other things that include the voices of young people. I mean, the Youth Bill of Rights, is a document by and for young people. And so I think that as the guiding document for Best Starts for Kids, as the guiding document for the Children's Youth Advisory Board, that's where I'd start. And after that, I got to throw some love out to the folks who are doing the justice work, trying to keep young people, interacting with that system in a way that is restorative and that fights against recidivism, which shows up in so many horrible ways. So look for the ones that have young people's voice at the center and the ones that are focused on youth justice. And those are the picks I'll be looking for.
Okay, Debbie, I can't let you get away. Same thing, I'm sure that everything is great and we know that it is. But for you, as an insider, you're an insider. You're an insider.
Oh, I'm an insider. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to. I've got to promote it, right? Thursday, I get to partner with Juliet Escobar, who does amazing work around developmental promotions for young children. And we're recreating a session that we participated in together years and years ago with a whole bunch of folks that I hope show up again. I hope we get to see you all again, where instead of presenting, we're actually getting together to share about what's happening and what we need and what we have and how we can lean into each other and share, whether it's resources, whether it's relationships, whether it's sharing ideas and thoughts around how we can partner better around supporting our kids and our youth and making sure that across all of King County. You know, we have so much diversity across this county, both geographically, humanly, language. I mean, so we're really excited for our session Thursday, where we get together with everyone and really touch base on what's happening now and what our families are calling out as their most important need, and how we as organizations can team together and with the county to serve our children and families.
Wow, just a ton of great stuff. You know what? Again, I said it earlier when I was talking to Jessica and Jamelia. What's so cool about today is it's the beginning. So everything is in front of us. You know what? I'm glad that we had this extra time, because normally we only get a half an hour. So I'm glad that we had this extra half an hour to talk more about Best Starts for Kids, and to meet Debbie and meet James. And for those of you who are familiar with Carrie, we got to holler at her again. We're almost out of time here, but I do want to give each and every one of you an opportunity for last words. James, I'm going to start with you. Then Debbie, I'm going to go to you. And then Carrie, I'm going to let you hit the ball out of the park. So, James, anything that you'd like to say to our community right now about Best Starts for Kids programming, the work that you do, whatever, the floor is yours.
Yeah, it is election season, which reminds me that we have a big thank you to all the voters who passed Best Starts for Kids in 2021. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone hears that we are so grateful that the voters of King County came out again and supported young people. And the very last word is just listen to young people.
Wow. Okay. Short and succinct. I like that. And I like the fact that you brought up voting too, because we are in election season, and we just finished 5, right, Daniel? 5 debates. We did Seattle City Council position 1, Seattle Council position 2, 3, 4, and 5. 4 of the council positions, the incumbents aren't running anymore. So pay attention to who's running in your district. It is important. This is an off election year. When I say off election, it's not a presidential election. And so folks don't usually turn out. But these are local issues that are impacted by these officials. So you have until October 31st, I believe it is. And then I think you can have a provisional ballot up to November 7th or something like that. But register to vote, okay? Register. Thank you, James, for bringing that up again. And you'll be able to look on Rainier Avenue Radio, and you'll be able to see the debates for each of those folks, plus pre-debate discussions and post-debate discussions. And so I'm just glad you brought up voting. And if you're under 18, you can actually pre-register to vote as well, to make yourself. So yeah, James, I kind of took a little bit of your shine and shined it on. But Debbie, go ahead.
I don't know how I can end on that one. Ooh. Well, I think that if I was to say anything, I would ask those who feel passionately about children and families to join us, to consider joining the Children and Youth Advisory Board and join this amazing group of people who are working together to pay attention to what's happening in our county for our kids, for our families, for our children, for the babies, and for our adults as well. And to take advantage of this summit as an opportunity to connect with others. Let's connect and work together.
All right. Thank you, Debbie. And Carrie.
Hi. I want to reiterate what both James and Debbie said. Both of those things are things I'm passionate about. So yes, listen to young people. They know what's going on, what's happening in their lives, and they have a voice. And the Youth Bill of Rights session, make sure you tune into Tony's show from 9 to 9:30 on, is that Thursday, Tony? And we're going to have young people from our Youth Bill of Rights task force there and hear their voice. And then, yes, we want more people for the King County Children Youth Advisory Board, especially if you're in rural areas of King County. We need representation there, Native community, our Asian American community. We have all kinds of folks that we need on our board. We want you if you have passion for kids and youth. And finally, come to the summit. It's going to be good. You still can register. It's a virtual platform. We're in person to Museum of Light on Friday. So it's going to be a great time. Thank you, Tony, for having us.
All right. Thank you all, James, Debbie, Carrie, and it's me, Tony B, at Rainier Avenue Radio, and we're excited to once again be able to kick off the Best Starts for Kids Summit. Hoover, just explain Hoover really quickly. Carrie, do folks need to know about Hoover?
Hoover.com is a platform that you can have conferences and summits on. It does virtual, hybrid, and in person. It's a great tool.
Okay. And do folks just Hoover.com? Is that how they get there?
Yeah. Go to beststartsblog.com and look
Okay.
up Best Start Summit, and it'll take you right to the registration link.
Okay. Make sure we got that in there. Thank you all so much for coming. Glad that we got this kicked off, got this started. That's it. That's all the time that I have. That is going to do it for the kid. It's me, Tony B, saying, remember, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you cannot, you are probably right. I'm out. Peace.